What's going on, internet? Let's talk about backwoods horror. You and your friends are out on the road, driving in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly your car breaks down. You're stranded, there's no one around, and you happen to be downrange of a lunatic who's holding a sniper rifle. Downrange is the newest Shudder exclusive film directed by Ryuhei Kitamura, the director of The Midnight Meat Train. It stars Stephanie Pearson, Kelly Conair, and Rod Hernandez, and it tells the story of a car full of road trippers who end up stranded on a deserted road, only to discover that somewhere a sniper is watching them and picking them off one by one. I knew really nothing about this movie going in, but I love Shudder exclusives and they usually tend to be pretty good, so I decided to check this out and just go in blind. And I also happen to love Midnight Meat Train, so I was pretty curious, and boy am I glad I was. I really enjoyed this movie. Downrange happens to be a really well-crafted backwoods horror thriller. Kitamura is a great director, and he really knows how to shoot violence in a very specific, stylized way that still gives you that brutal gore you're all looking for. And make no mistake, there's plenty of crazy gore in this movie. Their practical effects are amazing. But where this film really differs from Midnight Meat Train is that it's not nearly as over the top. This film feels a lot more down-to-earth and gritty in its depiction of violence, and it's all the better for it. And that's really what I loved about this movie. It feels very grounded and real. Despite some shaky acting, this film reminded me quite a bit of movies like Wolf Creek and Green Room in its setting, in its brutal, realistic depiction of violence, and in the way that the characters act very realistic. They all feel extremely human. They don't always react rationally to the situation at hand, because honestly, who would? But they act very practically, and that's something I feel really benefited the narrative of the film overall. Another way this film benefited greatly is its choice of scenery. There are so few places to hide in this wide-open, Outback-esque setting, and they're forced to think on their feet because their only other option is to stay pinned down behind like a small tree or a car and hope they don't get hit. And when your characters have such a small area in which they can move, it really creates this ironic sense of claustrophobia because they're in a wide open space. And it allows for some extremely creative moments of tension that had me genuinely on the edge of my seat. There are some really tender moments between the three leads in this film, and it really helps you care about them a bit, and it serves to flesh them out. And I definitely appreciate that, because given the cast of this movie and given the type of movie it is, it would have been extremely easy to make them really vapid, stereotypical teen characters who no one cares about. And I really applaud them for doing things differently in this. This is, however, where I start swinging to the more negative aspects of the film. I do feel, as I said earlier, that the acting is a bit shaky. It's not bad, per se, but it's never quite believable given the realism of the rest of the film around them. The main girl is supposed to be an army brat, survivalist, and you never quite buy that from her. At least not in the way that you bought it from Sharni Vincent's character in You're Next. On top of that, the gritty, serious tone that I was praising earlier is gone when you enter the third act. The change happens gradually enough, but by the time the police arrive for the climax of the film, it becomes a goddamn Tom and Jerry cartoon. The levels of police incompetence are genuinely hilarious, and the ending of this film, the very last scene, is so amazing and so ridiculous that it has to be seen to be believed. I can't even begin to explain it to you. It's so funny. That's honestly all I can say about Downrange, though. I was definitely pleasantly surprised, and while the tone of the third act was definitely incongruent with the rest of the film, I enjoyed how fucking crazy it got. I'm gonna say that Downrange is solid. It's just a really clever, well-crafted bottle thriller with a surprising amount of heart and some expertly directed action, and I'd highly recommend it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, click down there and like and comment and subscribe. And if you really like this channel, we have a Patreon now. The link is in the description. You can click down there and check it out. There are all kinds of cool rewards, everything from getting a special thank you to you guys getting to pick the movie I review once a month. Patronage is on a per video basis, but Patreon's great in that it lets you pick a monthly spending cap for yourself, so you really decide how much you donate per month. And honestly, guys, even $1 helps, especially if you want to see this channel grow and for me to be able to put out new and better content for you all to enjoy. So please consider donating, but even if you don't, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.